Welcome back to another edition of Diamond Star Stories, where we review the cards from the 1934 to 1936 Diamond Star set. This month's card is going to be none other than card number 92, which is from the 1936 release. Outfielder from the Philadelphia Phillies, Ethan Allen. Ethan Allen is a man who's known much more for his contributions to the game than probably the time he spent on the ball field itself. So Ethan Allen was born in 1904 and lived to be a ripe old age of almost 90, because he passed away in 1993 at the age of 89. Ethan Allen played from the years of 1926 to 1938. He attended university both at Columbia University and also at the University of Cincinnati. He's originally from Cincinnati, that's where he was born, and eventually played for the Reds, where he started his major league career, and moved on to several different teams, including the Giants, the Cardinals, the Phillies, the Cubs, and also the St. Louis Browns, which was his only American League team. During the time of his career, he was mostly an outfielder, played all the different positions, and actually was known for having a fairly high fielding percentage and being a very heady player on the field. His best season probably fell in 1934 with the Phillies, when he batted .330, hit 10 home runs and 85 RBIs, but also led the leagues in doubles with 42. He actually earned some MVP votes, and I think he finished 17th in the MVP voting in 1935 while with the Phillies as well. Over the course of his career, he accumulated a WAR of 7.7. He had just over 1,300 hits, 47 home runs, 501 RBIs. This beautiful example of his Diamond Star card here features him obviously on the diamond. Looks like he's kind of facing in from probably more like center field kind of standing, well, he's somewhere in the middle of the field at this point. We can see the scoreboard behind him there with these yellow looking clouds against a blue skyline and power lines behind him. And obviously you have the contrast of the green outfield with the brown infield. And you have a very close portrait of him, which is very true for many of the cards in the 36 release. In particular, for the new players that were added, they're much more like player profile pictures, as opposed to some of the other things that they had done during the course of the 35 and 36 release. So this one is in a PSA 3. It has a mark on it. I believe the mark is pretty minor on the card itself. You need a loop to be able to see it, but I believe that it's there. These cards are pretty old. This one, it's got a blue back on the back here, as you can see, as if all the 36 releases do. It's card number 92, which is nearing the end of the regular issue before they start issuing the high numbers again. It's got a trademark of 36, as I expected. Batting average of .307 in 1935 is mentioned there, and he was 6 foot tall and weighed 175 at the time this card was produced. After his playing career, he actually went on to be the coach of Yale University starting in 1945 and held that position all the way through 1968. He did take his team to the College World Series 1 year during the time he was over that squad, but also he is known for being the baseball head coach of former President of the United States, George H. Bush, when he attended Yale. During the time, actually, after his retirement, he started writing before he took a position over with Yale. And in 1942, he actually published this oversized magazine called Winning Baseball, which had pictures of modern players exhibiting a lot of the different skills needed, from fielding to running to hitting, for youngsters that probably would be reading that magazine at that time, trying to learn how to be able to play winning baseball, quote unquote. Later on, after he was a coach at Yale for some time, he actually published a book too, similar to the magazine that he published in 1942. 9 years later, in 1951, he published a book which was called Major League Baseball Techniques and Tactics, which was in publication in 1951. You can still find used copies to this day, which also, again, features players of the era doing a lot of the different skills, but this time they elaborate much more than what he wrote previously in the magazine. Those are both probably fun purchases to be able to pick up, because they have pictures from the players of that era that were actually like taken by Ethan Allen himself. So he kind of leaned on a lot of his relationships with all the clubs that he played on over the course of the years, but also all the players he got to know during that time to be able to put these publications together. But probably his greatest contribution off the field was creating the Calico Alice board game in 1940. It was first released there in 1940, and it stayed in publication all the way through the early parts of the 2000s, which followed his death. In 1993, it stayed in publication for about a decade later after that. So those things obviously off the field brought him a lot more income, in addition to be able to being a coach at Yale for a long period of time. So that is Ethan Allen. This is his beautiful example of his Diamond Star card, featured here with the Philadelphia Phillies. Obviously in a color pattern that we're not familiar with to this day, because it features a lot of blue and white on his uniform, as opposed to obviously the red that we're accustomed to at this time, or even more of a maroon sort of feature that we're accustomed to this time with the Philadelphia Philly uniforms. So that's it. I'll be back next month with another edition of Diamond Star Stories. Between now and then, I am anticipating hopefully being able to get 8 cards back from SGC that are Diamond Stars that I picked up at the National, as well as 2 more that I purchased recently. So there may be 10 more cards that are coming into my collection, which will help fill out some of my displays that have the Diamond Stars in them, and actually bring me down to a grand total of 11 more cards I need to be able to complete this wonderful pre-war set from 1934 to 1936. I will be back again next month, and I'll see you soon later this month with an edition from the 67 High series, another complete set, and probably a few other videos to kind of showcase a few other items that will be coming in the course of the next couple weeks.